You are who you've been looking for. So stop looking for more unless you're looking in a mirror, because it's about time for you to see clearly that you are who you've been looking for. And that empty feeling you got, that hole in your chest, you only got that feeling because you think you're not blessed with everything you need. You see, we live in a consumerist society, which means they need you to buy stuff. And the easiest way to sell it is to tell you you're not enough. Buy this car, you'll get girls. Buy this bra, you'll get guys. And we're seeing it so much that we start believing these lies, but the truth is, the makeup they're selling to make you feel prettier is the same makeup you buy to stop feeling shittier about this lie they keep telling you that you are not enough. And what about the movies we watch, all the shows on TV? The more I watch, the more I see I need you to complete me. And yes, love is the answer, love is the key, but if you can't love yourself, how could you ever love me? And loving yourself, what does that even mean? Like massages and selfies and that sort of thing? Because the more I think about it, the more it feels weird. I've always been taught that self-love was something to be feared. I've been taught that arrogance is bad and vanity, it's not good, and even my bracelets are telling me to act how Jesus would, so what should I do? How should I act? I'm supposed to love myself, but how do I even do that? Well, I got a trick that I picked up from a friend who noticed that I was quick to defend her when she would say something negative about herself. She would say, "I'm so dumb," and I'd say, "You're so brilliant." She'd say, "I'm so weak," and I'd say, "You're so resilient." And when she said, "I feel ugly," and I said, "You look beautiful," she asked me why I was so dutifully filling up her cup constantly and yet treating my own cup so irresponsibly. Because when I looked in the mirror, my voice was quite clear. You're ugly, you're too thin, your hairline's receding, you got a pimple on your chin. And that was when she gave me a piece of advice that changed my life. She gave me a hug. And she said, "Treat yourself like someone you loved." Treat yourself like someone you loved. Now, I had been standing, but I needed to be sitting because I couldn't believe that I had been letting myself keep forgetting that I was who I'd been looking for. And deep in my core, I knew it was time to stop looking for more until I could look through all my fear and look into a mirror and see clearly that the man looking back at me was the only one who can make me happy, and I am already enough. And I am not any more special or unique than you. That is why I'm here to speak to you. You are already enough. And when you start to see that, you will start to be that. Your world will get brighter, your load will get lighter, and you can see that with life. You can be a lover, not a fighter. And that life, you deserve it. Because you are worth it. And there is no point in letting yourself keep forgetting, because no matter what you say or do, you are perfect. And so today, I hope I leave you with a direction correction away from the flaws you see in your reflection. They aren't flaws to me, they are simply protection against all the doubts you have of your perfection. So start today. Take a good, long look in the mirror and say, "I am who I've been looking for."
This is your first challenge. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. I want you to turn to someone sitting near you, next to you. Okay, look them in the eye, and this is what I want you to say. When I look at you, I see blank. Okay, 30 seconds, go. You're going to look at me and say, "Mr. Flood, when I look at you, I see blank."
Okay.
Okay?
When I look at you, I see a smart man.
Now I go. Alexis, when I look at you, I see me. Where am I looking? I'm looking in their eyes, deeper than that. Where am I looking? Their brain and their heart, we're getting closer. Yes? Where? Their soul, we're getting really close now. Where's your soul? Inside. That is your first challenge for today. Stop looking at people on the outside and say this out loud. Look on the inside. And here's where you use this. It's really hard to look at someone who doesn't look like you and see yourself in them. My children don't look like me. They look like their mom. They look Asian. They look Filipino. They have black hair and brown eyes and Asian skin. They're tan and they just don't look like me. My son Justin, he likes anime and Justin likes wrestling, WWE. What you need to know about Justin, though, is that he has autism. And he's awesome. He's kind. He's compassionate. He's caring. But he doesn't understand where he fits in socially. He can't look people in the eye. He doesn't know how to interject himself into a conversation. He doesn't know where he fits in. When Justin was in middle school, he used to come home from school every day. And I would ask him, hey buddy, where'd you eat lunch today? And he would say, Daddy, I ate alone. He still does some days now in high school. Justin looks like all of you guys. And he is just like all of you guys. Not here. Here. And there's a difference, guys, between being alone and being lonely. No one here is alone. We're all in the physical proximity of people. But there are people sitting in here who are lonely. Lonely is a feeling. Lonely is toxic. Lonely is dangerous. It leads you to do things that you normally wouldn't do. A lot of times unhealthy things. But about five years ago now, Justin learns how to skate, and 8 months goes by and he gets invited to play, he wants to play on a rec league team with typical kids, with regularly developing kids. And the last game of the season, we were losing. It was 8-3. It's about 3 minutes to go, and I'm in the bleachers. There was a face-off, and Kyle takes the puck, and he passes it to Justin, and Justin skates in, and he takes a soft shot, and it goes off the goalie's pad, and he gets the rebound, and he stuffs it in the goal. And the kids are going crazy, and needless to say, I'm crying. I'm like melting the ice with my tears. And so I went over to the opposing team's bench, and I reached out my hand to their coach, because I knew what he had done, and I said, thank you, and he looked right at me. He looked right at me, and he said, don't thank me, thank the boys. And they were 10 and 11 years old, and all they did was let a kid score a goal. But here's the takeaway. They had no idea how they would affect that kid's father that day. They had no idea that that kid's father would go out and tell that story to over 100,000 kids. And I don't think you're too young to hear that message. And so I say that to you. Your life is not about you. Your life is not about you. Your life is about all the people around you. Your life is about all the people you can touch, all the people you can impact, all the people you can influence, all the people you love, and all the people that love you. That's how you source your life. Live your life like that and watch your life change. It's amazing what happens.
Going to the chapel and I'm gonna get married. Going to the chapel and I'm gonna get devastated. Gee, I really am uncertain. And we're gonna get divorced. Going to the chapel of love. I'm 20 years old at the chapel doors, big white dress and a 4-foot train. And there is a man at the end of the aisle who I do not want to marry. How did I get here? I grew up in a home where I was unsafe, unspecial, unloved. And so when that was reflected back to me, it felt like home. It felt like love. And when I was 16, and for the first time in my life, someone looked in my eyes and said, I love you, well, you knew I was going to marry him. I was starved for human connection. So I went ahead and married someone just like my father and divorced him by the time I was 30. And then I was engaged to someone just like my mother, and I ended that when I was 40. So my work is done. Challenges do not keep us from our dreams. They prepare us for our dreams. And so I am ready. I'm ready to meet Mr. Right. Right? And how do I attract my soulmate? Well, that's a big question, and I always take big questions into meditation, and I heard the answer. Lean back and receive. What does that even mean? Lean back and receive? You mean I'm not supposed to work for it? I'm not supposed to prove my worthiness of love? I'm supposed to let go of everything I ever thought I knew about love? I am a beautiful being, deserving of love, and so are you, for no other reason than because you are you. So, the next time I get married, and there will be a next time, my vows will sound like this. Dear one, I love you so much that I'm going to put me first. I promise to be at peace with who I am so I can be at peace with who you are. I am committed to my greatness so that I can be comfortable with your greatness. I take full responsibility for how I feel about you. It's all on me. And the only thing I ask of you is that you do the same for me. Now, I am open, willing, and ready for love. The question is, who else is ready? And who's next down the aisle? Thank you.
A man, much reserved by nature, was very hesitant to ask his boss for a raise in his salary. One Friday morning, he got up and told his wife, "I will do it today, darling. I shall ask my boss for a raise in my salary." Late in the afternoon, as he approached his boss, finally he gathered up the courage to speak up and ask for a raise in his salary. Much to his delight, the boss agreed. The man was on the top of the world. And when he came back home, he saw a beautiful dinner table, fine crockery set on the table, beautiful candles lit up. His wife had prepared a festive meal to celebrate the occasion. He guessed someone from the office may have tipped her off and informed her about it. Anyways, he got into the kitchen, hugged her, gave her the good news, and came and sat down to have his meal. Right there on the table was a card. When the man picked up the card and read the contents, the card said, "Congratulations, darling. I knew you'll get that salary raise. All of these things are to tell you how much I love you." Prep by prep, the lady served her husband, and as she went back into the kitchen finally to bring the dessert, from the pocket of her apron fell another card unknown to her. The man picked up the card, and as he read the contents of the card, he had tears in his eyes. On the card was written, "Don't worry, darling, even if you did not get that salary raise, you deserve much more than that. This dinner table, this crockery, these fine candles, this fantastic meal is all these things are simply meant to tell you how much I love you." Her love for him was unconditional. It did not depend on his success at work. In fact, it was exactly the opposite. If he were to fail, if he were to be rejected, he would have needed that total acceptance and support all the more and she would be there by his side. Even if we were to be rejected by the whole world, if we have one person in our lives, like this woman, who can totally accept us, totally believe in us, totally love us, and totally support us, we can certainly achieve what we want and reach where we want to go.
I'm the too much woman, and I am dangerous, can't you see? My truth, my words, my hips, my curves, 2 handfuls, maybe 3. Too loud, too big, too bold, too wild, too sexy, yeah, that's me. And I won't sit down, shut up, or dim, turn it off, hide away, baby. I was born a too much little girl in a big fat Greek family. And I was fed compliments along with second helpings of everything, because food and words are how we love in my family. They called me beauty queen and blue-eyed princess. And those words, they tasted as good as mama's cooking. And I learned early on that my body was a form of currency. That with the bat of an eye and a sweet smile and the tilt of my head, I could buy me more love and attention. And that worked for a while. Until it didn't. Until the beauty of my body started to entice customers that I did not want in my store. And so I started to backpedal, to become small and afraid, and to dim my too muchness. Well, I trained as a dancer and slowly came back to loving my body again, to feeling strong in my skin and confident in my stride. And on a crisp fall day in grade 9, I was surrounded by 20 older girls who pinned my arms behind my back, kicking, punching, spitting, scratching, punishing me for my too muchness and my love of my body. And as the blood dripped from my nose, so did the light in my spirit. And once again, realizing that I wasn't safe in this body, I dimmed it down. Well, fast forward, I'm a grown woman now, smart, professional, delivering a keynote to a sea of over 300 executive men in suits, deciding this would be my defining moment. Once and for all, I was gonna be seen, not for my body, but for my art, for my craft, for what I brought to the table. So I manned up. Severe pantsuit, button to the top, breasts hidden, hair slicked back into a severe bun. I even bought me some fake glasses. I dimmed down all the juiciness of my too much body, and yeah, I knocked that baby right out of the park, and I flew off the stage to a standing ovation, thinking I had finally won the battle by dimming this body down. And there I was, strolling along in my self-celebration, when I was approached from a man from the audience who asked if he could walk me to my car. And out in the parking lot, he grabbed my arm. His nails were like talons, digging into my skin, and he pulled me close, very close, too close, so close that I could smell the stale coffee and misogyny on his breath as he hissed, "I have a fetish for librarian types." Say what? All I remember is driving fast, driving on the highway and watching my whole life fly past in front of me and ricochet off the windowsill. The shaming, the hiding, the dumbing down, the shunning, letting my hair blow wild and the tears flow free, and deciding I would no longer deny the love of my body. From now on, I would dare to be seen in my all that juicy over-the-topness. You know, people carelessly say, love your body, but what they don't say is, baby, it's a dangerous game. People are gonna shun you, objectify you. They're gonna ignore you. They're gonna be afraid of you. And I say, yes, baby, all that, yes, but guess what? Do it anyway. You know, the church says this body is a sin. Science says this body is a machine. Business says this body is a product, but this body says I'm a freaking fiesta. So to all the too much women in the audience, I want you to stand up. Stand up and be seen in your glory. We are not a piece of human. We are not flesh and ass in temptation. We are feminine energy with masculine force. We are sexy brilliance, and we are hot determination. We are bigger than our breasts and more powerful than our thighs. And our curve is mightier than any sword, and our wit stronger than any insult. We are not here to radiate, to taunt you, to provoke you, to threaten you. We shine not for your adoration. We shine because, baby, you just can't dim the sun.
I believe that feeling loved is more important than being right. I think we all agree. Again, we forget in the middle of the argument. In my shower, we have this knob that you pull to turn the water on, right and left, hot and cold, a little plunger that you push that sends the water either up through the shower or down into the tub. I, like everyone I knew, pulls the plunger so the water comes up through the shower. I put my hand in, wait till the temperature gets the way anybody else do this, and when it gets the way I want, then I get in. My wife, for some other reason, has this experience that when she turns on the water, she expects it to be going down into the tub, so she leans in to put her hand underneath the faucet. Where's the water coming from after I've used it? From the shower. What does it do? Hits her in the head. How's she feeling? Oh, you left the shower on! And we get into this argument about who's going to have the plunger in or out. Haven't you ever had silly arguments that were intense about that? Who's going to control who? Whose right way is the right way? That went on for a long time. Power struggle. And somehow, I don't know why, sometime when I was finishing the shower, I thought of what was going to happen. And I saw myself having a choice of doing something with that plunger to have it go up in the shower or down into the tub. And I knew very clearly that if it went down in the tub, how would my wife feel? She'd feel loved. And isn't that the way we want the people we love to feel? We want them to feel loved. And I saw how simple and easy that was. But I had to realize the difference between a requirement and a preference. That you don't go to war over preferences. In fact, when it's not a requirement, by definition, you've agreed to not agree. You've agreed to not have to have it your way. That's what not a requirement means. And so, push the plunger in. And when she comes in and the water hits her hands, she feels loved. And just to be a little poignant about it, she passed away about 4 years ago. And when I take a shower, I am still pushing the plunger in. It makes me feel loved.
In my perceivingly worst relationship, where my fiance picked me up and threw me 3 feet across the room and choked me until I passed out, when I can figure out the purpose of that relationship, now I can bring Lisa 100% fully forth so that my next doesn't pay for my ex. Because until you are complete and whole in some of those answers, you're trying to avoid them in the future until you can be whole and complete with them. It's purposeful. Any relationship you're no longer in is either purposeful or life-giving. Figure out which one and figure out what it gave you. What life did it give you? What purpose did it fulfill? And then move on into your breathtaking future. That someone's gonna cross your path tomorrow, next week, next year, and they need the love that you have. But in order for them to get it, you need to fill your cup up and you need to be in overflow, because you can't love them from your cup. You gotta always love them from your saucer. Yes, because when you love them from your saucer, you never ever run out. You never love on an empty tank. Love never hurts. A lot of times when love is hurting, it's because you haven't given you everything you need yet, and you're trying to give other people what you still need. You're trying to give them your oxygen, which is why you're sitting around going, hurry up. I never made it to Broadway, so this is my best damn stage. So recognizing that when you love from your overflow, that's the most responsible thing that you could do. And that the greatest love that you can ever give the world is the demonstration of what loving you looks like. She can give herself 1,000 second chances, then I can give myself one more. And if he can give himself another chance, if he can get up after that financial fall, if he can get up after that divorce, if she can get up after that breakup, if he can get back up after having to leave his children, if she can get back up after having that child, and she can define herself, then what can I do? And so your demonstration of how madly in love with you are helps me to recognize how madly in love with me I get to be. And then when I love myself enough, then all my extra just oozes over onto you. And when you let your light shine like that, because you've fallen in love with you, all of a sudden you get in the corner and that light for a moment brightens up someone's momentary darkness. And then you've been a blessing to someone else. Humanity starts with somebody. Humanity is the sister at the grocery store. Humanity is the black man that's walking down the street who looks like he can use a hello and a smile. Humanity is the Asian woman who's in the corner who can use some love. Humanity is the white man who's in the corner who might not say hi to me, but if he sees love on my face, then he knows that I mean him no harm. I'm his sister. Humanity is each one of us. I want to love the journey and I want to feel the journey. And in order for my yes to have value, my no needs to be said. And I want to exercise my no and my yes. I want to dance until my knees hurt. I want to stay awake until I doze off in the middle of a sentence because the conversation is so good. You know, I want to laugh until my belly aches. I want to sleep until the sun wakes me up. I want to find out what does my song sound like, even off key. I want my heart to skip a beat. And I want my stomach to turn in knots because he just took my breath away by the way he looked at me. I don't want to miss a moment of this life called love. But every time I look in the mirror at Lisa, I want to look at her and I want to say, God, I love walking with you. I love holding your hand. I love this journey and I'm proud. I'm proud of the way you wear imperfection. And so I say that love starts with self-love.
I have stood here on this corner for far too long. Here, at the intersection of too much and not enough streets, hustling for my worthiness. You could drive by most Sundays and see me at 6 years old, 8, 10, standing at the doorway, nose pressed to the glass window, waiting. The home would smell of chocolate chip cookies, his favorite, and I'd wrap them up tightly to keep them warm, thinking, oh, he is gonna love me. I mean, he's gonna love them. And I stood at that door, waiting. I remember the cruel ticking of the clock. I remember my mother gently pulling me away from the door, peeling off my coat, and making me hot chocolate to sweeten the bitterness of his absence. I stood at that door for much of my youth. And at 26, all dolled up in my wedding day, I sat in the back of a stretch limousine, my nose once again pressed to the glass window, waiting for him to show up to walk me down the aisle. There was no hot chocolate that day, just the bitterness. Now, I ain't a victim. In my life, I have been loved in so many ways. That's what you all want to hear, isn't it? All the ways that someone else can soothe and comfort and fix it. Ever have someone try to give you something you didn't feel worthy of having? Nobody can fill you if there's a hole in your self-worth. I'm here to tell you, baby, that it is never enough. And if I could talk to that little 6-year-old girl, I would tell her, baby, he's not coming. Nobody's coming to save you. And that's the good news. Worthiness isn't out there to get. It's in here to claim. It's your birthright. And I love this thought without apology to the romantics and the Hollywood movies and all of you searching for your twin flame. I love knowing that the journey to loving myself is the ultimate love affair of my life. But this state of mind, it's an inside job, baby. And if you aren't there, haven't been there, forgotten how to get there, hop in Thelma and let's get the hell out of this town.
Because the journey to connection, it's never about going. It begins with coming home to yourself.
How to succeed in heartbreak without really trying. First, do nothing. Become one with your couch, eating whole stacks of Oreos like leaning towers of feelings. Watch Jane Austen adaptations until your eyes become raisins. Relish in Colin Firth emerging from the lake in a white shirt. If you must do something, drink, but keep it classy. Put your cheap wine in a glass, you aren't a pirate. Talk to yourself. Talk to yourself in the mirror, on public transportation, in the middle of the fountain at the mall. Because there are things you never got to say, and you don't have to swallow them. Join Tinder. Make your profile picture a model and talk to no one. Just keep swiping until you get carpal tunnel. That way you can reject 50 people a minute and it feels like killing ants. With abs. Kiss as many people as you need to get the stamp of his lips off of your brain. Go to museums. Realize other things have history too. Play hide and go seek with your REM cycle. We're not sure what's worse to wake up from, the nightmares about your sides splitting open, or the dreams about him holding your jaw like it meant something to him. You might as well tape your eyelids to your forehead, because at least you can lie to yourself while you're awake. Stay up until 3:30, 4, brew tea with the bags under your eyes. Write until you've used every metaphor in your library. You start using the same one over and over because there's only so many ways to describe being destroyed. But once you get there, that's just the foundation. Next, gather up all of the chinks in your chain, fasten them together, make chainmail, and ride that bitch into battle. Take his name, the one that still hurts to say, and use it as a war cry. Then actually cry, because there is nothing shameful about clearing your eyes. Do not pick yourself up. Do not be okay, because heartbreak is not about being okay. It's about remembering that you were okay before. It's about saying, fuck okay. It's about taking all of your broken pieces and building yourself a castle, because I don't care who you are, you're a goddamn queen. It's about saying, fuck this poem. No one succeeds at heartbreak. I built myself a throne room out of pizza boxes and empty Lunchables, and I can't stop crying into my Campbell's chicken noodle soup. But one day, I'll cry myself a fountain of youth. Let's go back to the beginning. I'm tired of self-help tips and friendly pick-me-ups. I drank of bottles, and bottles, pretending their mouths belong to someone else. But I'm done feeling sorry for myself. Because why apologize for loving until you burst? My capacity to feel needs no pardon. My heart needs no mending. I am not broken. I'm just a little more explosive.
I have a really important story that I want to tell. I met my abuser when I was 19 years old. He was charming, and it all started amazing. And then one thing led to another. Started with little comments here and there. So it started with more verbal abuse, and then it started with a push or a shove, and then it became a choke. And I was like, all right, well, if you really choked me, and I'm thinking in my head, if you choked me harder, then I'm gonna leave. But then if every time I tried to leave, it kept getting worse, and I didn't know how to get out. And I thought that it was my fault, because he truly blamed me for everything. And so I lost all my friends. I got dropped by every agent and manager in the business because I was doing terrible at auditions, and I truly felt like I was stuck. I did not know how to get out, and I didn't know there was a place that could help me. But also because I didn't know if anyone would believe me, I didn't know. So I just hid, and I hid, and I hid, and that's when I finally was like, I don't want to live my life like this anymore. So I prayed to my grandpa and I said, please just take me away, because I don't want to be this person, because I was a girl full of light and full of energy and charm, and this man just broke me down to absolute nothing. So on that next day is when he choked me, said he was going to kill me, and ended up strangling me till I lost my breath. But I saw my whole life flash before my eyes. I saw my birth to my funeral, and I just remember seeing my mom, and it's like, why couldn't I reach out to my family? And that's what I love about Safe Horizon, was because there is a place where you can reach out and you can talk about it. And once my abuser was in jail and I was able to finally be set free from him, my family became my Safe Horizon. I was able to go today to see the shelter, and it was beautiful to see. I have a 14-month-old baby girl, and I would do anything in the world to protect her, and to go in there and see these beautiful children being protected means the absolute world to me as a mother. And then I also know those mothers there too are so grateful, because it inspired me to know that not only can we now speak about it, but we can also have shelter and we can get help. Another huge fear of mine was my story, because I thought that if I shared my story, then people would view me as broken. And it's been 14 years. I held it in for 14 years. But now, knowing the platform that I have, I want to be able to be a voice for you guys. I will be the loudest voice.
As much as I would like to say that I married for love, I didn't. I had an amazing life. Right out of college, I got married. I moved to Italy, to Lake Como, which is one of the most beautiful places in the world. I would ride around in my Vespa, wind in my hair, sun in my smiling face. I had what you would imagine to be this Renaissance painting. So I had it all, picture perfect life on the outside. But on the inside, it was a different story. On the inside, it was like that painting was cracking and peeling. So what was wrong? Everything. I didn't know it, but I hated myself. And I kept it up. I kept up this painting, especially for me, my parents. I could not let my parents know, especially not my dad. He would kill me. And I spent 9 years suppressing what my heart was telling me, suppressing my emotions, ignoring them. No. But I was lost, broken, I was afraid. We were driving along the lake. We were going to see some friends that had just had their third baby, so we veer up to go to the hospital. And the whole time in the car that we're going there was something inside of me that just, something was not sitting right. I was not feeling okay. We get there, go up to the maternity ward floor. I just couldn't handle it. I didn't know what was wrong. And I go down this hallway, it's eerily empty, huge, and I find a place on the wall and I just brace myself. And I don't know what's going on, and this feeling is just getting stronger. Shame and blame. How could you? You're such a horrible person. It was just going over and over and over again. I just wanted to jump out of the window and sink to the bottom of the lake. And I'm standing there and I'm just, what is wrong with me? And all of a sudden, all this screaming in my head just stopped. And I'm looking at myself. And I was so clear, I was finally clear. Because there was only one decision that I could make. I had to leave. I had to leave this life. I had to leave the marriage. I had to leave everything. And I didn't know how, because I had trapped myself in that painting that I meticulously curated for 9 years. And there was so much at stake. I didn't want to hurt my husband. He wasn't a bad person. He was a great person. My family, our friends, 9 years of relationships. And then I would have to face people. I was going to get blamed. I was going to be hated. I was going to get yelled at. My dad was definitely going to kill me. I was so afraid, but I made the decision anyway, because for the first time in a really long time, I made a decision for myself. And for me, one of the most difficult ones was calling my dad and telling him. And I still remember calling him, and I said, I'm so sorry. I'm so, so sorry. And he pauses and doesn't say anything, and I'm ready. And he says, Adapia, come home. I said, you're not happy. Come home. I had no idea that he wanted me to be happy. I had all these stories of what I thought he wanted for me, of what other people wanted. But the truth only came out when I had a conversation about it. Those uncomfortable conversations are the ones we really need to have. If he thought that my happiness was important, then maybe it was important. Maybe happiness is important. What I found when my life fell apart, when that painting of my life lit on fire, I found something I never expected to find. I found a masterpiece. I found the part of me that knows the truth, that never veers from the truth. I found my soul. And whether you call it that for yourselves, know that that voice inside of you is the voice that knows what's right for you.